What's up?
Hey,
we're back. We're doing it.
Oh boy.
Huge day here at IGN. Thank you so much for watching, by the way. This is up at noon every week right here on IGN, 12 p.m. Pacific time, but you already know that. You're here. I'm Brian Altano. That's Max Scoville. We're coming in hot. We just had the Destiny 2 reveal live stream in here.
Yeah, there was the big kind of the big build-up and what everyone thought they were going to see, and then there was a lot of noises and colorful effects and whatnot. And the blue man was there. And
we kicked those nerds out of our studio, and we brought in the really cool sci-fi idiot garbage, which is Star Wars toys and Mario and our dolls. And we said, get out so we can make our show.
We have to play with our toys in here. But yeah, we actually we've got a really good show today.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Hold
first
on,
of all,
you know what? Hold on.
What?
Let's take a second. Let's breathe.
Just take a breather.
Just take a breather.
Take a
We've
breather.
been going all morning. You have too. I know you have.
Okay. First of all, I want to say we've got our live chats on right now from Twitch and from YouTube.
That's correct.
Zeranex says there's a lack of leather. That's right. Brian's feeling sporty today, so he's wearing a track jacket.
That's right. I went with track jacket, and Max went with the athletic leisure clothes of the wild Hawaiian.
Yeah, this is for like lounge exercises.
Yeah.
You know, you want to do some weird flexing.
Yeah, this is
sweats.
the GTA 4 when nature calls moms.
We really do look like. I love that this is a show where 30-year-old men play with toys and talk about hip young things while dressed like GTA side characters.
Yeah, we look like weird drug dealers from Miami.
Yeah,
so,
but we're not.
But really, if you don't have my money, I'm gonna break your legs.
Anyway, speaking of money, this week we are sponsored by Old Spice Squid, and tomorrow we're going to be hosting a special Up at Noon Plays Live to help kick off Old Spice Squid's new 3-day-long Twitch experience, Twitch Plays Squid. If this sounds like craziness, it might be. Join us as we uncover the mysteries of manhood by separately controlling 2 of the 8 arms of a mythical squid beast to complete basic manly tasks like pulling out chairs for ladies or picking up forks. To reiterate, it's a squid made out of men.
And we're going to control it with our body parts. I can't wait.
Yeah, so that's 4 to 4:30 p.m. Live streaming across all of IGN's platforms on IGN's Twitch channel, or you can go to oldspicetwitch.com. You can take over a leg, so hop on Old Spice's Twitch page to play. That's going to be live from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. I believe that's Pacific time. Literally anything could go wrong. It's basically Simon Says with a deep sea animal.
It's gonna be. Can we get a look at this squid again? Can we pop over to Max's camera here? I want you guys to see what this thing looks like. It looks terrifying. There you are. Not you. No, you're in the way. Now it's. You're doing good. Great. Perfect.
How does it work? Where am I? Hi. Anyway, let's get into the news. As we mentioned, Destiny 2 is the big gameplay reveal. I'm going to be totally honest. We both are just dumb idiots when it comes to Destiny.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all. I understand why people like it.
Yeah.
But nope, not my thing. Don't get it.
But
we're happy to see you happy. Really, that's what it comes down to.
So Destiny 2. If you want to see more Destiny 2 stuff, here's a cool image I made. Look at this. This is what you should go do. You should go check out Fireteam Chat.
It's not going to show. It's just showing us.
There
we go. There we go.
So look at that. I took that man. He's like, go to the Fireteam Chat. It's youtube.com/Fireteam Chat. It's all of IGN's most like hardcore Destiny fans, and they, I think half of them are down there at the actual gameplay reveal. So if you want more coverage of that, jump over there. They're going to be doing probably like way too granular breakdowns of what's coming out of that.
Everyone in that photo looked like they ate the gum from Willy Wonka that turns Violet Beauregard.
That's what happens.
Yeah, you better watch that show.
That big round thing is the great glass elevator. In other news about spacey things, we got our first look last night at Star Trek Discovery. That is the new CBS show that is, I think, like the best looking Star Trek show I've seen. I think we're rolling the trailer right now. It's opening on like a desert shot of people in robes immediately gets my attention because I like Star Wars. But yeah, obviously it's 10 years before Kirk and Spock in the Enterprise. Brian Fuller, who was attached to Hannibal, was attached to this, but then he jumped over to American Gods. I'm not sure who's working on this right now, but as far as like kind of, prequel-y reboots to Star Trek stuff, this looks incredible. This looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's some shots in here that look kind of that like, soundstagey, like low-budgety vibe that you get from Star Trek, but I will say that like as far as high concept, hard sci-fi, distant future stuff, this looks incredible for like a TV show.
Yeah, and I think I read the season got expanded to 12 episodes to the first season, which is really cool. I'm into that. Yeah, I think that like what turned me off from Star Trek in the past was so much of it just took place in this room right here. So going out and seeing cool planets and exploration and stuff like that is very, very fascinating to me. And that suit looks rad.
Spaceship. In other news, there's also, of course, The Orville, which is Seth MacFarlane's space show, which is kind of a spoof of Star Trek. I watched the trailer for that immediately after. Like I was like, Star Trek looks great. I think I'm gonna watch that. And then I watched the trailer for The Orville, and I was like, oh wow, this actually looks very silly. I think I might watch that as well.
Where did this one come from, by the way? Because I feel like
we got an image of the cast here. It's Seth MacFarlane, who can at this point I think he can just do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, I'm bringing back Cosmos, and they were like, well, you made American Dad and Family Guy and the Cleveland Show and you know Ted, so here you go, Cosmos. And now he's like, here's a goofy kind of Galaxy Quest-esque show. But yeah, I think Jon Favreau is also helping with that. In other news, speaking of shows, we got word that Netflix is going to be making a Witcher show. This is great news. It's going to be actually, it gets tricky though, because this is Netflix teaming up with Andrei Sapkowski, who made the books that The Witcher's based on, who handed over the rights to CD Projekt Red to make the games, and has had basically no input on The Witcher we kind of all know and love.
nor money.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't get any kickbacks.
Dude wasn't getting paid. Gotta get that paper.
Which is weird. I'm wondering if this is almost some kind of a make good or just like, I mean, I don't know who has the rights to The Witcher. The good news is this is being made in partnership with the studio behind the incredible CG trailers that are like little vignettes. Like this was the one they used to reveal The Witcher 3. They showed this at E3, I think 2013 or 14, 13 maybe. And I was like immediately in love with it, and I was like, I need to go read these books. So I don't know if it's going to be live action or CG or what, but I'm tentatively very excited for it. Obviously, the big thing right now, I mean, the biggest show on TV is Game of Thrones, and you know, The Witcher shares some similarities there. But I hope that they lean more into the weird side kind of monstery stuff.
Yeah.
Like the kind of the almost like the barren wasteland. I mean, I want the side quests from The Witcher, not so much like the big high fantasy main quest with politics and intrigue, which is, if they're trying to ape Game of Thrones, that's probably what they'll go with. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's more fun to watch this guy kill a bunch of griffins and stuff.
Yeah. Funny thing is, there actually has been a Witcher TV show before. There was a TV movie made in Poland called The Hexer, and I really hope they're not pulling from that. I do hope that they pull from some of the Dark Horse comics that came out more recently. So here's a do and don't. On the left side, do that. Make it like the comics. Make it cool and stylish and weird and sparse. Do not make it like a vaguely softcore porny Hercules: The Legendary Journeys with a man who looks like a diehard villain. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Other big news, Far Cry 5 got announced, and we got this to look at, the logo.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Word art, y'all.
There it is.
Wow. So this is really like, I mean, I love Far Cry. I'm sure Far Cry 5 is going to be exciting, but I think they should have done something a little more like this to reveal it.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah.
He seems okay with this. This is like this is
like,
fine bear.
What is this game? Fark Bear Far? What? Honestly, they should have just teased it with an animal on fire. Be like, guess what's coming soon?
Yeah.
Anyway, other things that got announced this week. We got they got us a trailer for Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Don't show that picture.
Brian doesn't like looking at Baby Groot.
I don't like this
in
Baby
normal
Groot
form.
minifig.
The Baby Groot minifig. Ooh, look at it. It's like a woodland ghost has invaded our set.
The clay turd baby.
Yeah. So that's I don't know. It's kind of funky. So that's a weird. That's actually a microfig. Lego has the regular minifigs. His arms are actually for a sense of scale of the actual toy. I don't know if I have an image here. But you can make it so regular minifigs. Oh, here it is. Regular minifigs can grab him by the hand, and I think he actually looks even scarier. He looks like a weird, just like a odd crystallized raccoon down there.
It really looks like just a cat turd with eyes.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
It's a very weird one.
I don't like that at all.
Anyway, other big huge news this week. It was announced that the Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was the best-selling game. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So 460,000 physical units of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is shocking because that is a 3-year-old game. It's a 3-year-old game.
Yeah.
And with digital
That's what it
thrown
looks
in there.
like. That's what's happening over at Nintendo
There it
right
is.
now.
With digital thrown, it's 550,000, which I think is fascinating because that means they only sold 110,000 digital copies of this game, which shows to me that Nintendo fans are some of the most old school purists when it comes to actually collecting physical boxes. They love just having those little carts. On the Switch, it makes it easy for you because the cases are great.
Also, right now, I think people will lean into digital on Switch, but I think having a new case, that's like a weird case. It's like somewhere between like a PSP case and a 3DS case.
Yep.
And
the system itself sold 280,000 units in the US, which beat PS4, Xbox One, everything else, and the Wii U, which sold 280 units in the US. I made that up, but it's probably not far from the truth.
That is bonkers. I mean, that's the thing though, is the good news is we bought Switches.
Yeah.
We took that leap of faith, and the fact that things are doing this well this early on is like kind of a sigh of relief because that means it'll be continued to get supported. Like, I think not good grammar.
I think what's interesting here is that comparatively, these are actually kind of low numbers. Aside from the fact that this was not a launch in the fall like we're used to, so you don't really get that Christmas bump. Supply constraints are still hitting them here. There was that Foxconn story a few days ago about how things are just impossible to just sort of pipeline all of these games and all these consoles out from Nintendo. So I think when things open up, Mario Kart will keep selling, Zelda will keep selling, and the Switch, once you can actually buy it, is going to kind of crush it for the rest of the year.
Now, in other news, we got word that is this for real? There's going to be a Zelda mobile game.
There's going to be a Zelda mobile game. It's coming after Animal Crossing.
They're just kind of hurting for cash. They just need
that.
that.
Right. So I mean, we're getting that weird. This is kind of it's kind of good to see Nintendo where they are right now. Like everything's looking great. You know, like their hair's looking great, the skin's healthy, like they're exercising, all this kind of stuff. Everything's working together in synchronicity. They're working on theme park stuff with Universal. They're working on they got a brand new console that's killing it. They just launched announced the 2DS, which I think is going to clean up with kids over the summer. And mobile stuff. Fire Emblem is doing fantastic for them. Pokemon Go is making millions of dollars a day. Even though their logo is the second one you see there, they're still getting paper off of that. Yeah. Mario Run is the weird outlier there. So Zelda Mobile's happening. We know that Animal Crossing Mobile's happening. We can speculate on that in a second. But I thought we'd take a few minutes, and maybe you can help us out in the comments. And talk about maybe what we think a Zelda mobile game can look like based on what we've seen from them so far. So looking at Nintendo's mobile stuff so far, it's safe to assume that Zelda Mobile will be a vertical game, right? It won't be, oh, there's my Star Wars wallpaper. It won't be one of those games that you play like this because nothing they've made has looked like that so far.
Yeah, I think they are leaning into the whole, like, you can play it one-handed.
They love that, yeah. So, I mean, we saw it with Fire Emblem, Miitomo, Pokemon Go, Mario Run, which was a platforming game we all questioned, like, how could that work? And it does, right? It works really well. The other thing I think is that we haven't really seen them do anything that feels like a massive departure in art direction from what they're doing already, but they haven't really just locked into pixel art for anything. So when you think Zelda Mobile, you're probably thinking like, oh, maybe it'll look like Link to the Past or Link Between Worlds. I think it's going to have a brand new art style. But we thought we'd mock up real quick of some directions I kind of don't want it to go in. So let's look right here.
Okay.
If you've got an Android phone, you've probably been like, pirating Super Nintendo games on it for years. The weird thing about Zelda games is that we've never seen them in this aspect ratio. Never. So I mocked up what this would look like with overlay control buttons. I hate this. I don't want this to happen. On the right over here, we've got sort of like Zelda 2 auto run dungeon temple crawl type thing with swipe controls. I don't really want to see that happen either. I think the latter kind of makes a little bit more sense here. It could, but I don't really think it's necessarily going to happen. Now, Zelda's been in a bunch of different art styles since its inception in the 80s, so let's take a look at some other stuff. One thing that I really liked about Mario Run, a lot of people don't really talk about it, but it was sort of a side option here. When you weren't playing the main campaign, you could build out the Mushroom Kingdom. So this is kind of something I want to see return for Zelda. The towns, the top-down perspective, here we have the art direction from Link's Awakening DX, could be really cool. You go in, you fight bad guys and beat dungeons and do whatever you do.
Man, and that sounds great. Like, I would love that. I'm not really big into city building, like tappy-clicky Farmville stuff, but if it's using a really familiar art style, like that just makes me happy to look at. Like I want that as a wallpaper now.
Exactly. So I mean, I think for something like this, I wouldn't want this to be the main game, but I would want it to be something that sort of you can dabble with on the side when you need some breaks, right? Now, obviously, with touch controls, you're limited immediately. And I think that's why we're so happy we're playing Switch right now, because it's got a touch screen, but it's got those dedicated buttons on the side, and you can break off the controllers and do all that fun stuff. But we've seen Zelda in a couple different art directions in the last few years. One of my favorite is actually Four Swords, which we saw on the GBA, we saw on the GameCube with 4-player multiplayer with link cables and GBAs. So let's take a look at that. And on the right, we've got Hyrule Warriors. Now, I think each of these could work in their own way. Four Swords with swipe controls, and Hyrule Warriors, which is a Musou-style game. You're fighting waves after waves, hordes of enemies. I think could work very simply with swipe controls, sort of the way something like Infinity Blade worked, but with huge crowds.
Yeah, that seems really
think
cool.
about that.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of maybe you're having a balance between something that is like a town builder.
Right.
But there's side missions where you gotta fight a bunch of enemies doing swipey stuff, or maybe there's weird block puzzles, or yeah, we had a few people in the chat. Rydizzle said Zelda Candy Crush.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You know, that seems like a pretty like rupees just being swiped around.
Yeah, it's possible. I have a feeling
Zora dating sim. I don't know how.
I have a feeling they're going to go with something a little non-traditional, because we thought Mario Run would be an endless runner, and it wasn't. It was level-based. And we thought, Pokemon Go, or when we first heard about a Pokemon mobile game, we all thought like
it's just going to be Pokemon Pocket.
And it wasn't, right? It was a completely different thing. So my last option here, given the success of Pokemon Go, and given the fact that Breath of the Wild is so heavy on discovery and finding things, I kind of want Zelda Go, where you have to find shrines in the real world. Now, I don't know exactly what that looks like. I mocked this up very quickly. It's been a long week. But work with me here, because I have a feeling that something like this could be really cool. Finding Zelda treasures in the world, finding Zelda enemies in the world, finding rupees, finding like Triforce pieces would be the big rare ones, right? Like finding the Master Sword. Like I look at the way someone like Andrew Goldfarb, who's on vacation or on business trip in Tokyo right now, he's finding Pokemon he can't find here.
Sure.
He's still playing this game years later. So I don't know. Let us know what you think.
What's interesting is like Pokemon is so much about gotta catch them all. When I think about how I played Breath of the Wild and like going to look for shrines, it was always kind of more, I want to upgrade what I've got.
Yeah.
But if you're not actually, like, what's the benefit of finding shrines in the real world if you're not actually, maybe, what if it actually led you to real treasure?
I mean, maybe
what if they made an app that led you to real treasures?
I think like real,
find a real gold sword.
I don't think so.
They could put real swords in the world.
Okay.
Go get them.
Is this tangent finished? I think what they can do at the best is they'll give you new tunics and stuff like that for your in-game avatar, or they'll give you fake little meters to fill up to be like, you leveled up your Master Sword.
Yeah.
But all those things are options. I'm really into the fact that this is happening. Also, this is the first Zelda game, as we know of, unless a new one gets announced at E3, that we'll be playing post Breath of the Wild, which completely reinvented Zelda games.
By that logic, no matter what they do, they're
screwed.
Kind of going to suck by comparison.
They're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so on the subject of things that involve money and swords, Power Rangers came out this year, the movie. That was great. That was they had a lot of swords, and people were hoping it was going to make a lot of money. Lionsgate was banking on that doing really well. They were talking about plans for 6 sequels or something, or like a 6-movie franchise, which is pretty ambitious because nobody really knew how it was going to pan out. That movie was made with a $100 million budget. And it did not do so hot. It had a $84 million domestic gross. Obviously, it's still going to get weird with like home video and everything. But they were really hoping it would do well internationally. Now, it did not, and that probably means that we're not getting sequels.
Yeah.
This opened with a very, very low $3.3 million opening weekend in China, which is like, that sounds like a lot of money, obviously. China's, their movie-going tendencies are kind of weird. I don't know if they're weird. I think they're kind of just like, hey, what's big and loud and cool? The last 2 Fast and Furious movies are currently the biggest opening weekends over there, followed closely by, I think, Age of Ultron, Jurassic World as well. So obviously, like, machines and dinosaurs and explosions and things do well over there. Transformers Age of Extinction, the last movie that had robot dinosaurs in it that was released, did $92 million opening weekend.
Wow.
So $3.3 million to 92. So that's kind of a stretch.
So what happened here then? Do you think this is part of the fact that this didn't have a sort of consecutive launch worldwide? Like,
I don't think it was good. I just think it was weird timing. I don't know what happened. I think people were all going in with kind of an odd, like, kind of like tentative excitement. Like, we went in being like, this could go either way, and we loved it. We loved the movie.
We had a good time. I mean, I completely understand that it's not a great movie on a fundamental
it's
like
fun
movie
as hell.
level,
Anybody who missed this movie, like, definitely keep an eye out when it hits like what is it on VOD, and
Part of the reason I think this movie failed to capture an audience is because there's a new school Power Rangers crowd and there's an old school Power Rangers crowd. I don't know if it perfectly sort of captured either of them.
Yeah, it's weird though, because you'd think that just on the basis that it's like it's got, you know, kicking and robots, that like Chinese moviegoers would go for it. I mean, I'm not trying to like generalize here, but if you know, track things like big ass like weird action movies do well over there, like Pacific Rim, which did not do well stateside, like that was kind of a bomb domestically, that cleaned up internationally.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, like that's why we're getting a Pacific Rim sequel, because that I think barely broke even in the States, but it wound up with like a $45 million opening weekend in China.
Yeah,
and everyone was like, oh.
It's a tough one too, because I mean,
robots,
without spoilers, I mean, they do obviously set this movie up for future movies. I think they're hoping for a franchise here, right? It seems bizarre to me that like this happened 6 months before it. We saw Ninja Turtles 2 tank. So we're in this weird spot right now where like two great things that we grew up with returned and didn't really resonate and might both be dead in the water. Like Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles, two like ninja team-based weird, ugly alien fighting franchises are kind of dead at the box office.
Now, there's another key element here is that Power Rangers is the American kind of bastardization of Super Sentai, which is, you know, long-running like Japanese show. Tiger Ruby in our Twitch chat says, curious how a new movie from the actual Super Sentai would have fared in comparison, since those never stopped since the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers version happened. It's weird. It's really weird. But yeah, so on the subject of movies that did really well, Deadpool. Deadpool is the #1 R-rated movie opening or something ever. Which is nuts, because you're like, oh, Deadpool, like this is that weird Spider-Man ninja. What a strange thing to have. Now, obviously, Deadpool's kind of like he's toyetic. He makes a ton. He's just a fun dude to have as a toy. They've made tons of them. I've got one right here. This is the 12-inch Marvel Legends. He comes with a chimichanga. It's very cool. They just revealed one. I think they've teased this a while ago. There's a company called Figma. Do we have any over here? I don't think. Oh yeah, that Mario's a Figma. Wonderful kind of high-end, collector-grade Japanese action figure line that they usually run kind of $60-$70. They announced the Deadpool one, and it looks really cool. Like let's take a look. You can do all these cool poses and everything, and that's fine. That's a Deadpool action figure. That's kind of what you'd expect. However, something very cool is going on here. If you get the deluxe version, it comes with some extra pieces, such as a chimichanga and a chimichanga eating face and no pants. So you've got this wonderful interchangeable underpants Deadpool who can run around and eat burritos and stuff. And
this really makes his nurse clogs stick out to me. Like those shoes are really throwing me off.
Hey,
like,
I don't know if you've seen the movie recently, but there's a specific name for those shoes that we cannot say on this show.
Yeah, they're very like
those Crocs. Those German
school child Sound of Music. Can you go back to those pictures again, real quick?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question. The faces, are they heads or are they popping on his?
It's a pop-off head that has like the deluxe version comes with a little chewing mouth.
Okay, cool.
But the other ones have like funny eyes and stuff. Now, what's cool is this is actually the second Deadpool action figure announced that comes with underpants. The first one being the Nendoroid, which is coming out also later this year. I think there's something like
who kissed his legs?
I don't know.
Someone kissed his legs.
Weapon X kissed his legs with mutations.
If you kissed his legs, let us know in the comments.
But yeah, I love to get these are always like kind of silly, but it's cool to see like a character like Deadpool, who is very silly, get these like wonderful kind of interchangeable pieces to let him be extra goofy. I think there's something like 5 or 6 really cool Deadpool toys coming out over the course of the rest of the year. So if you're interested in collecting like a Deadpool toy, it's like the best time to possibly do that. These are out in the wild right now. These are the kind of American ones. This is Marvel Legends. There's the 6-inch one, which comes with the taco. And then there's the 12-inch one, which I've got on my desk, or on the desk right here, who's got the large full-scale burrito. I've looked at this very closely. I can't tell if it's supposed to be a burrito or a chimichanga. It looks a little bit too like kind of unfried to be a chimichanga, and usually you don't get those wrapped in foil. So we're getting in the weeds here. In other ones, there's also on the left here there is the Kyoto Revoltech one, which has like interchangeable like eyepieces, so he can make like different expressions. Revoltech is weird. There are these funny little clicky joints that like. They're not really made for like moving around a whole lot. They're made for like finding a really cool pose and holding it.
Yeah.
And then on the right here, there is the NECA quarter scale Deadpool, which I think is about $100. And it doesn't show it here, but it comes with a hand that's throwing up the goat, and it's got brass knuckles that I think just says like pool or like BAMF or something like that. It's something goofy.
I dig the paint ops on him. It's different than the other ones. They're all very clean and
NECA does more like washes and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff. Then, of course, if you want to get really just into serious debt, on the left here there is the Sideshow 1/6 scale Deadpool, which I think is about $200 or so. I think that's out now, and that's based more on his comic book appearance. Cool thing about that one is it comes with a bunch of speech bubbles and like this weird stand, so you can make him shout stuff like BRB or LOL or I'm Deadpool or something like that. And then you can't even tell here, this looks like a movie still. On the right, that's the Hot Toys movie accurate replica. And I didn't even touch on, I think I forgot, there's like a Mezco 1/12 and there's like a gorgeous statue that's out on the wall. Actually, I've got an image of the statue here. This is the Sideshow premium format figure. I saw this at Comic-Con last year. It's nuts. This thing is like, that's a regular sized apple for scale.
How do we know that? That could be like one of those small apples.
I don't think they sell, I love that they could also just sell like really small replica apples. This thing is gorgeous. The explosions are all sort of translucent. It's one of, like, I usually look at photos of statues and I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The fact that he's like slicing a grenade in half with a katana.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't look good in pictures, but seeing it in person, you're like, holy crap, this thing is so cool, and I would break it so fast. If you get it exclusively from them, it comes with an alternate head that's interchangeable, that's doing a kissy face, and a selfie stick. So he's not only just slicing a grenade in half with a katana, he's also taking a cool selfie for his Tinder profile.
Dude, that rules.
I love, like, Deadpool is like he's such a perfect, he's not even toyetic. Like, we use that term for like, oh, it's a cool Star Wars ship, it would make a cool toy. Deadpool is like collectible-ific. He makes perfect collectibles. So yeah, if you're looking to get into that, or if you just want more action figures that aren't wearing pants, that's great news. Those are out there in the wild.
The cool thing about Deadpool is I feel like you could put any accessories in the box and it would be like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Put like a teddy bear or a box of tampons, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he loves those.
Like, I love like weird, not even weird, just very banal, like normal accessories. Like,
Yep.
I bought this realistic desk that I've got Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson sitting at. It's just funny to be like, oh, like toys need desks too. Where are they gonna get all their work done?
Yeah, they gotta do all their filing.
I have brain problems. Anyway, speaking of toys and bashing action figures together, Injustice 2 came out this week. It kicks ass. We decided to play vegan mode, which is only using plant-based characters. Let's take a look.
Hello, everybody. Max and Brian here. We're playing Plants versus Plants. Yeah, there's a hot new EA game called Plants vs. Plants. The zombies were too scary for the kids, so they just made about the plant party. This also looks like Plants vs. Plant zombies. Yeah. No, this is we're playing Injustice 2, obviously. We're playing Small Thing vs. Coordinati. I thought it'd be cool to do zombies, but, you know, they don't have solid gravity in this one, so we can't do that. This is pretty much our first time playing this, and I want to go over here and do that. I really like the first Injustice, so this is one of the greenest games that we do. We're doing double planets with the planet level, so apologies to anybody. Come over here by the bug light. It is. This is my top. Good talk. That works. Find the poison lady. Dude, I'm really excited to play this. Please stop doing that. Oh! Wait, no, I got this whole still. I want to do one thing. Damn it! Wow! Look at the alligator. That was awesome. What am I doing? We're frog dances? Alright, so. Ooh. Wow! What is that? Looking at my kissy tower. Regularly uppercut. Oh! Don't you tickle the ground in the face, you sick man. Let's put the pedal to the pedals. Oh, my Yoshi is here. You're nuts. Don't do that. My young Yoshi. Ooh, oh, turn down. Hey, welcome to my poop cave. Oh! I'm so happy that NetherRealm is keep these games. What in the... What? I'm okay, I'm here. Kissy tower. Oh, my foot. Ooh. My hentai DVDs are on the floor. Stop kicking me in my small parts. The flower trees are going on my shoulders. It's Christmas time on Thursday. Oh! No. Oh, throw the bear trap. No! You're trying to bear trail. I want to go to bear trail. Oh, no, Yoshi kicked you in the nuts. Hit me in the nuts. Goodbye. All right, that's Plants vs. Plant Zombies by EA. Yeah. And PopCap. If you want to watch people being good at this game, good news. They also work here. So check out some of Destin's coverage. We're just goofing around with the plants, having a good time. And we're going to make like a tree and leave. That's right. The forest of plants. I bet you like the grass branching out in this new place. Flowers. We really planted a seed today. Yeah. Dark if you like this video. I would not give this a good score as the review of the video. Make sure to top us down in the comments below. Terrible. Somebody should rake up this movie. Plant puns. Get out of here.
Welcome back. We have to print a quick retraction from an error we made earlier in the show. Hackfress4Real points out on Twitter that Krogs are actually Dutch shoes, not German.
You mean
he wrote
clogs or Crocs?
He wrote Krogs. So maybe everyone's wrong.
Maybe, yeah. Point is, it's 2017. Unless you're like a sous chef, don't wear any of those shoes.
Yeah.
If you're a sous chef, carry on. It's probably good for your feet. You're wearing those weird pants anyway. They look like Rurouni Kenshin. But like, just don't. Why are there stores for Crocs?
I have no idea. Listen, if you're watching the show, which I think you are, otherwise, how would you hear me? Make sure to use the hashtag #AtNoon on Twitter. We'll get to some of your questions later on. Yeah. And we're also on Twitch and YouTube in the comments, so we'll be pulling some feedback from there too.
We are also getting feedback from our chat that's saying the sound is weird. Our dudes are taking a look at it. I've pulled it up. It sounds fine on our end.
Is it echoing?
Shut up, you. Now, obviously, we are very excited for Star Wars Battlefront. That is a game that comes out on November 17th, I think. Battlefront 2. GameStop announced that they are teaming up with Nerf Gun. Nerf, I don't know why I said Nerf Gun, it's just Nerf. Or nothing, really. Anyway, they're teaming up to make this kind of special edition Battlefront Nerf Rival box set that looks like something that I should love. It is a Nerf Rival Star Wars Battlefront Apollo 15 700 blaster and face mask set. It looks like this. It's all Boba Fett themed. Obviously, I love Boba Fett to death. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this, man.
It's so close yet so far, right? This feels like when you really love Star Wars and you really love paintball, but like it's not totally
that's clearly what this is. First of all, this thing is $90, which is like, dude, for $90 you might as well start getting into like actual paintball or airsoft or whatever. It comes out this spring. You find it at your local GameStop. But yeah, like this is really weird to me because obviously they have made tons of cool Star Wars guns. Up there in the upper left-hand corner, that's Boba Fett's blaster. I bought one of those. I want to say they're like a Disneyland exclusive or something, but it's his blaster. I got one and I like went to Home Depot and got a bunch of spray paint and made this like surprisingly believable replica of his on-screen weapon. The Nerf community they're all really big and weird into like modding stuff and repainting things so it looks like cool space guns. Cosplayers swear by Nerf guns a lot of the time. They can be used to like mod in all kinds of weird stuff. So it's kind of disappointing to see like all these opportunities for cool Star Wars guns. I mean, like this one. We got this one from Rogue One. This is like a Death Trooper blaster, I think. Makes noises and it's got like glow-in-the-dark darts and so it like lights up and charges them. And that's cool as hell. It's got like an actual Star Wars noise.
We lost all the darts.
Yeah, we shot them at the cat, which you're not supposed to do, but we did it anyway. This is not the exact one I had as a kid, but this is the same model. I used to run around and pretend that I was in Star Wars in my yard as a kid. This is the sharpshooter too. I used to be like, yeah, this is cool. This totally looks like Kyle Katarn's blaster. There's so many weird, cool weapons in Star Wars. Why not make some of those into toys?
Yeah, what happened here?
I don't know. I think it's probably, I imagine it's probably cheaper to make something like this and just repaint it, repackage it, and slap a Star Wars logo on it.
Part of this, too, that you're buying is you're getting into the packaging, right? Like, the packaging's really gorgeous. I'll be straight up with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really cool key art of Boba Fett. The mask is, like, whatever.
Yeah. But I got to thinking, like, what I love about Battlefront or just shooters in general, really, is they're kind of like screwing around with Nerf guns. You know, it's like a virtual version of like running around your yard and being like, I'm gonna shoot the thing, and you know, like in a perfect like 90s cartoon commercial world, you'd have all these cans set up, and there'd be like your neighbor would come over and you'd like sit him with your super soaker, but like most of the time you wind up just like running around just screwing around.
Right.
So to be like, I'm gonna go on the internet and play video games with people from all over the world, and we're gonna shoot fake, you know, virtual Nerf guns at each other. That's cool as hell, and I really like that. And for there to be a hyper-realistic Star Wars game that has like incredible like weaponry, this cool arsenal, that's great. But like, if you're gonna be making toys about it, why not get creative and start actually pulling from the source material? So I went ahead and I took a bunch of Battlefront weaponry and I mocked up what a Nerf gun version would look like. Let's take a look. Starting with the Jawa blaster, the shock rifle, the boomstick of Star Wars Battlefront, the just that awful little thing that some terrible scout trooper just knocks you out with when you're going around a corner. I want that to shoot those old Ballzooka balls. I love those things. Those stupid yellow like
those are
balls.
Great.
Those are a lot of fun. Another one, you know, Nerf actually bought Super Soaker from Laramie a few years back. They should totally make a Disruptor Super Soaker in the old classic Super Soaker colors. I think it'd be really fun. Just spray somebody with it with water, or really any liquid. You could put like blue milk in there, really, if you want to Star Wars it up. And of course, these all have to be this color, otherwise you get probably shot in reality. So, you know, be careful out there. Got to have like a very, very colorful weapon.
Yeah, that's a little close there. This one's great.
Yeah, this is the Relby V10. This is Bosk's gun.
I loved unlocking this one.
I threw a bunch of like dumb, like what was it? It was like the Nerf super bow or something, like the battle bow. Those big things that would always get like chewed up by your dog or cat or sister. Another one, Greedo's little gun. This would be fun as hell. They have like a little pew pew pew.
I love the colorway you did on this because they match Greedo's.
Yeah. Like Greedo looks like a Nerf gun. It's like it makes so much sense to be like, oh, here's Greedo's silly blaster, and hey, maybe you want to, you know, head on down to the Goodwill and buy like a '70s snowsuit and some high-heeled shoes.
What's that funny little nub down there going on?
That's what you gotta pull on to cock it. And then if you want to really, you know, have it be realistic, you can just saw it off with a, you know, Dremel or something. And then my personal favorite. This is what I used to pretend this gun was when I was a kid, is Kyle Katarn's Briar pistol, which got to be DLC for Battlefront, and I lost my damn mind because that showed up in, I think it was the Death Star DLC. Just give me a Briar pistol, man. That's like the coolest this basic gun. Look at this. Tell me I'm wrong that this gun looks like that. I used to run around and be like, oh, I've got to go rescue Jan Orris from the Dark Troopers. I did. You don't have
any brothers, right?
I was an only child, if anyone's confused about that. So
if you're an only child, the trees can be your friends.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to when you live deep in the woods.
The whole forest of friendship.
The rural countryside. Anyway, what kind of cool Nerf guns do you want to see? Star Wars or otherwise? Let us know. And then, while we're on the subject of Star Wars garbage that we're now,
opening boxes full of toys.
it's time for the box. All right, so Funko, obviously, they make Smuggler's Bounty. It's kind of like a more focused loot crate. They also do Marvel Collector Core and DC box of toys. I might be mixing those the names. Anyway, Smuggler's Bounty is a Star Wars one, and every month is a different Star Wars theme. And this month, they are leading into the whole 40th anniversary of Star Wars, so they're doing some just kind of classic, you know, retro 70s New Hope stuff. There's a funny little pin of Chewbacca. This is very silly. Look at his funny face. Can you see it?
Can you see it?
Can you see it? It's very small.
Can you see it?
Enhance. All right, you hold on to this for
There we go. Now you got it right there.
Yep,
That was it.
There.
See?
So it just looks like
There's that little bear.
Kind of looks like the South Park Chewbacca. And I like this because down below it, I think it says Smuggler's Bounty, but it's written in Orabesh, the nonsense language.
Yep.
And then right here, you've also got a nice patch with Luke Skywalker on it. You know, also written in lots of Orabesh, which is very silly. Now, normally they have like a T-shirt and a pop and like a weird little, you know, gizmo or gadget. This one, they kind of went overboard, and they give you a whole friggin' land speeder. So this is Luke and his land speeder with his little bobblehead. You want to open that up?
Yeah, let's do it.
And then they also gave us Han Solo and Greedo salt and pepper shakers, done in that Funko style. Man, I kind of wish that these were. Oh, there's that noise. What does it smell like? Smell like a new toy? Oh, good. Your spaceman's helmet is here. This is pretty neat, I gotta say. I love the land speeder. It's just it's a space car. It's a goofy ass 70s space car. I'd be like, hey, how's it going, everyone?
This one's really cool, actually. I really like the. So the figure doesn't come out of it, right? He's locked in there.
We can probably. Oh, he might come out actually. Does he? I don't know. We can break it later. But yeah, so that's kind of the big thing they're leaning into. I've always loved the land speeder. It's a great design. We're gonna talk about a Lego land speeder in a second, but I think the Star Wars Black series is doing like a really gorgeous just big, huge 6-inch scale vehicle for you to play with. It's got all the. Okay, this is actually pretty cute. It's got that wonderful kind of coffee mug finish. Just the, like it's that gift shop ceramic.
Oh, look at these boys.
I love how angry Greedo looks. He looks pissed off.
Yeah, he does look pissed off.
Anyway, we're getting in the weeds here. And then they also come with, because you're probably all just worked up a sweat after opening all those toys, some sweatbands for your wrists. All right. So, on the subject of land speeders, here is a very cool one that is sort of, unfortunately, a Walmart exclusive. So if you are into Star Wars Lego or land speeders or whatever, head down to your local Walmart and try to grab one of these. This is like only available from them. Here's what the box looks like right here. If you want to take a look. That's not the
There
box.
we go. This is not canon at all.
Yeah, that's actually a deleted
These
scene.
are all of these people are not friends.
They pick up the Sandman and then they adopt a rat. Yeah. This is like National Lampoon's A New Hope.
Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, so what's funny is this is an exclusive, and this is effectively a new kit. There's a bunch of new pieces added here, but this has actually been released before in sort of different forms. If we want to take a look at this, there's the box for this one.
So this one's $20, right?
Yeah, $20 out in the wild. It's got. Take a look at those like the engines in the back there. They're these weird kind of like cylinder pieces, and of course there's a little Tusken Raider in there. This was actually released back in 2010, I think, but it had like different funky side pieces there, and of course like different minifigs it came with, and it was in an entirely different color scheme.
So they ditched R2.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that.
That sucks, man.
Yeah. I feel like they're probably chipping away at making a new R2 figure because that's the same one they've been using since way back in the birth of the Star Wars Lego.
Right.
And then it was also included, I think, that's still yet a different color scheme from this one. That's kind of closer to what we got here. But that came with the Cantina set, which is actually pretty hard to track down.
No droids in this one. They're not allowed in.
What's also really cool is I think LEGO's been doing a better job of making smaller sets that come with more minifigs because they're aware that there's such a huge collector market for that.
Yep.
Like they've got one coming out soon that's it's just a speeder bike, but it comes with like 4 bounty hunters. So if you want to get like a little figure of Dengar, like you're someone like us, then it's you don't have to track down some super rare like Slave 1 set. But also worth looking at is how far LEGO's come in like. Coming up on 20 years. This launched in 1999. Here's this one that we got now with all these funny people on it. And here's what it looked like back when they first released those things. So
that is adorable. There's something really endearing around this one though, because it really reminds me of the really early space kits we had when we were kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, look at the difference in the sculpts and their hair, just the way they've handled the. A lot of these were like sort of traditional pieces that they used on the back that they.
Yeah. What's really funny about going back and looking at the really old Star Wars kits is. I think they didn't want to go overboard with making new pieces. Like they made a handful of them and they were kind of like, okay, well if these don't work out for Star Wars, we can always repurpose them. But they also were like, maybe we don't need to make a whole new piece for like an R2-D2. Let's just use that existing dome head. Or
right.
whatever. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
I just want to say real quick, it's really awesome that for like a couple of decades now, you've been able to walk into a toy store and see some Star Wars toys. Like, there's been a couple years where they went away and a couple years where they came back, but between Lego and Hasbro and everybody else, like, whether the quality's gotten better or worse with some, like, it's kind of cool that, like, you can go to Walgreens, you can go to Target, you go to Walmart, and, like, there's Star Wars toys.
Yeah, by my math, there was like I don't think it was in a full decade, because Power of the Force trailed off around 85, and then they had, like, droids and Ewoks probably in the clearance racks, and then it was 1995 that, like, 94, 95 that Kenner started remaking them, so... Yeah, anyway.
We got the Lego stuff.
Yep, Star Wars toys. Speaking of Star Wars, one thing that happened this week is Attack of the Clones turned 15.
Yeah. You and I went to get coffee the other day, and we were geeking out about where we were in our lives when we saw that.
Yeah.
Which is very, very different places than where we are now. But I think when you look at the sort of the large scope of Star Wars movies, it's kind of undeniable that Attack of the Clones is the weakest one. Some people say Phantom Menace, some people say Attack of the Clones, but I really think that when it all comes down to it, this is not the one that people remember the most fondly, but there's a lot of cool stuff in it. And also, I think the story of the way it came together, the fact that it was using so much tech that we had never really seen in filmmaking before.
I mean, fun thing to mention is that Attack of the Clones is the first movie to be shot entirely digitally.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first digital movie, which is pretty much standard now.
Yeah, so
You're watching a digital video right now to give you an idea of how much things have developed in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, this is everywhere you look is digital video now, but this was the first one that we saw in theaters, which is pretty fascinating.
It's crazy. But yeah, like I was in 10th grade.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's really weird to think back to that and just be like, that was literally half my lifetime ago. So
Yeah, 15 years
creeps
ago.
up on you. But we wanted to run down here 15 things that we love about Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
It might not be our favorite Star Wars movie, but it's still a Star Wars movie. So.
No, and I think like it's important with Star Wars that even the bad ones, you're like, it's still Star Wars. I still love it for those reasons. And even the things that you don't like, look for the things that are good. And that's a general law across the universe. Number 1, Camino. Awesome planet design. This place is really cool. I'm not crazy about all the Jango Fett's hanging out, but
I think it's pretty funny.
But yeah, it's funny when they're all eating and scowling. But this is a really great planet. Like the sort of these inter hallway science tubes here. The fact that they're all cloning these new characters that we saw for the very first time are very fascinating. Very stark departure than say the end of Phantom Menace, which is very goofy and lovable. This is a slightly darker movie.
Yeah. What's also cool about this is I think they were in a lot of the Phantom Menace stuff. They were still trying to blend practical and digital effects, but in this case. They were kind of like, okay, this is going to be entirely CG. What does it look like? And they were designing with that in mind. Like, there's a lot of rounded surfaces, and it's all very like it looks fake. It's a cloning planet, so it kind of makes sense for it to look a little bit like not real.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you were to take this scene and make it on Tatooine, you'd be like, okay, why couldn't they just get actual sand? You know?
Plus, you get some cool battles outside in the rain, which is just like, it's very new for Star Wars. Number 2, Count Dooku. Amazing actor, obviously. We get that weird, funny lightsaber that kind of looks like a... I'm not going to say it, but I mean, this is great, right? To get this level of sort of terror and fear in a protagonist or antagonist again.
Christopher Lee is such just a wonderful kind of classic character actor, and it's cool to get him. He's kind of like a Grand Moff Tarkin in that Peter Cushing had played all these kind of horror characters. And he had this kind of legacy to him, and it was cool to sort of get. I think they were actually in movies together in old Dracula movies.
Yep.
I might be wrong there, but Christopher Lee been acting forever. He was also playing like Saruman at the time, and
he's like hanging out with like Geonosians, and it's just weird. It's so funny.
He's just a cool dude, and he's got that badass costume. It's such a gorgeous cloak. If you could wear capes without looking like a total weirdo, I'd wear that cape with a cool chain and everything.
I think you could pull it off. Number 3, Jar Jar Binks is incredibly toned down in this movie. Like, you don't want to punch him anymore. He's quiet. He's in the back. He's wearing like this weird stuff that you would wear if you like ran a hemp shop. Like, it's very odd, but I actually like this character removed of all the slapstick Roger Rabbit nonsense from the first movie. And he ends up kind of like making some big mistakes in that Senate. So good to see you return and not talk as much as you did last time. Number 4, Zam Wessel. Until her face turns into like a weird lizard rodent.
Yeah, so talking about the weird problem of trying to blend CG and practical effects when it was still in that infant phase, her face, that whole warping scene is very, very bad. But Zam Wessel as a character is cool as hell. Like, I love her. She's like this. She's like, oh, this is like sexy sniper woman jumping around in like cool hovercrafts. And then
her
like, oh no, you're an orc.
Her helmet's really cool. It looks like partially kind of like the way Anakin's pod racing helmet looks a little weird and
it's
kit-bashed.
It's just good old ILM like prop design.
Number 5, Obi-Wan and Anakin's buddy cop relationship is really fun in this movie. You don't really get it in the next movie, and you don't get it in the movie before because he's a child. And in the next movie, he's brooding and pissed off, and
I mean, that's
blue-balled and all that all these other problems.
The whole root of the Clone Wars being great is that they've got that dynamic. They've got that friendship.
Yep.
And I love that also within the first 10 minutes of that movie, Anakin's already just such a pain in the ass that he drives Obi-Wan to go drink. He's like, you find her, I'll be at the bar.
Number 6, Dexter Jetster. We got his toy right here. Great guy. I don't know. Look at these little like funny sandwiches and jellos he's got, and he puts his hand right in the cream.
Yeah, he like scratches his ass right after that, and then he touches all the food.
Yeah, I grew up.
Great film.
Grew up with people like this, like working at New Jersey diners and stuff like that, and like also filthy old bartenders in New York City.
Yeah. Something that's really funny about Star Wars is so often you'll see like props that were picked because they looked futuristic at the time. This like carafe here is a perfect example of that. They have that at like every Starbucks you go to. Like it's just a stainless steel like coffee creamer thing. It probably looked way Star Warsy at the time, but they were like, which is kind of like Aunt Brew's Tupperware back in the 70s. That probably looked really futuristic, but they were like,
it's telling that he's a cool character design because it doesn't, most people with sandals and a ponytail.
Let's look at his plumber's crack here.
Yeah, look at that handkerchief he's got hanging out of his.
Is that his Oh God, does he have like a tail tucked back down there?
Let's
What's
not talk
going on
about
there?
that. Number 7, seeing young Jedi training for the first time in the Jedi
younglings.
library. You eventually get to see these children get slaughtered,
Yeah,
which
so
is
if you
sad.
if you didn't like them, tune in for the next film and you'll love it.
But it's kind of cool to be like, oh, like how is a Jedi formed as a young kid? I mean, you saw a little bit of it in Phantom Menace, but this was cool to sort of see Yoda taking on this leadership role that we eventually see him take on with Luke on Dagobah when he goes to that fun swamp planet to marry his girlfriend, the Snake.
Don't start with that.
No.
Then of course there's Watto.
Yeah.
We love Watto.
Number 8, Old Watto.
I love with Star Wars things. And you see this across the board. They always do something to tweak the design. Like Luke doesn't wear his like farm boy tunic into Empire. He's
Yep.
got like a new outfit. And you're like, oh, and part of that is because it would be like really lazy and cheesy to not do that, and part of it's because they want to make a new toy. But in the case of Watto, it's like, so what do you do over the course of, I don't know, 5-10 years, however long that was?
You
And
get
he's
a 1950s alien spaceship and you put it on your head.
I sold your mother and I bought this hat. You're like, really? You sold my mom and you bought the hat?
Yeah, I mean, I love Watto. I always have, like, and it was great to see him come back in the next movie. Number 9, we can't play it for you, but Jango Fett's Slave One ship noise. Seeing this in theaters, hearing this in theaters was awesome. It's weird. It's hard to find like pictures of this thing actually flying around.
Dude, also just seeing Slave One in action, because all it does in Empire, as a huge Boba Fett fan, I was always like, I want to see it do all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's dropping like ion bombs and exploding asteroids and stuff, like that's awesome. And it's got that.
And that like,
gun.
"Thwong."
Yeah,
that
it's
noise
cool
is
as hell.
awesome. The entire
Yeah.
theater was like, what?
Yeah. Honestly, like, I'm not wild about Jango Fett. I'm not wild about how they retcon Boba Fett's existing expanded universe backstory, because I can't throw things away. But it was cool as hell being like, oh, he's actually using a jetpack to do something besides fall in a hole.
Yeah.
Great. And then he gets his
Speaking
head
of
cut off.
falling in a hole, Ayla Secura, we got to see her, and this is a cool time. We got to see a female Twi'lek that wasn't being torn apart by a Rancor.
Yeah.
She's great.
I think it was really, it was really Attack of the Clones that started kind of being like, hey, Twi'leks are like everywhere. They're like, they've become like kind of one of the top tier Star Wars, races. And Ayla Secura's cool as hell.
Speaking of Rancors, Reeks, Nexus, and Accolades, these funny monster boys that were hanging out in this big pit where they tear open Padme's dress. But these guys are great. Like, look at these monsters.
They're just good-ass monsters.
Yeah, that's just a cool-ass thing to watch on a screen. Like, when you see a movie called Attack of the Clones, you expect some, like, old-school sci-fi monster garbage, and that's exactly what we got here. They upped the ante of the Rancor stuff, and we got to see all these characters fight all these enemies, and the droidicas are running around. It's a cool scene. It's fun.
Yeah.
Number 12, Klieg Lars. My man, the gross-ass alcoholic
wrong
with
with
gout
you?
legs.
What's wrong
This
with
dude
you?
is gross. Look at him. It's
All right.
Klieg Lars.
I mean-
Everybody loves Klieg Lars. He's hanging out by that plant where he pees.
What's wrong with you?
Number 13, Elon Sleaze Bogano.
Yep, I got a
Let's talk about
toy of him right here.
Yeah.
Let's show these guys off. We can do a brief reenacting of that scene.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, this is my stupid kid. He's going off looking at that shape-shifting toad woman. He's like, hey, you want to buy some death sticks? I'm like, no, you want to go away and rethink your life. He's like, oh, okay, I'll go away. It's just like this weird Dare.
great.
It's just a Dare commercial in the middle of like it's like just say no,
They
or
te-
use the Jedi mind trick to make people entirely rethink their. What the hell?
They teach you that that cigarettes exist in Star Wars, which is really funny, and that they're
Is
straight
it
up just-
cigarettes or crack? They never really established. You want to buy some death sticks? And
I
it's
mean,
like,
he has Sleaze bag in his last name, so
right,
you're
but
probably
he's got
right.
like a trench coat. Yeah, so he's like, I mean,
you're right.
He could. I feel like they.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah. Also, it's Mouse from the Matrix, that dude who complains about all the eggs and makes that weird VR porn program with the red dress lady.
Yep.
That's a weird. That's a weird scene. That whole Outlander club scene is great, which is why I've collected all of the toys from it except for Addie Vita. Addie
Yeah.
Vita? I forget her name.
That
The
sounds like a
Twi'lek
graphics
lady.
card.
Yeah.
Number 14, Shocks. These big-ass Naboo animals, they look like furry dog ticks. Look at that dunker.
Break the internet.
Look at that big-ass butt.
Yeah,
now,
that's-
this scene is terrible. Everyone hates this scene because they're rolling around, but these guys are in the background. Like, I think this is why I love Star Wars, because you can take the corniest, most gaudy, awful, just saccharine, romantic trash, and in the background, there's this big, fat dog tick just farting and just rolling around, trying to kiss his wife. It's disgusting. What a
So,
sick
like,
man.
that whole scene, if you took like all of like the courtship scenes from Attack of the Clones and just put them together as one like
Yeah.
weird short film, be like, I don't know why we have to dress up like pilgrims. Well, we can't be recognized when we're traveling. Anyway, what's that?
What do they sound like? The big guys.
Oh, they're just like.
That's That's not what they sound like.
That's what they sound like when they're farting.
You forgot
which
the
is
part.
always.
Did you talk about the part with the pear?
No.
All right.
That's not a good part.
That's a great part when he's like, "Hello, darling. Can I feed you a pear? I'll make it fly."
No, on the list of the 15 best things in Attack of the
we're
Clones.
eating apples with a knife and
No,
fork
the
like
pear is
weirdos.
not one of them. Number 15, we finally got to see this Yoda fighting with a lightsaber for the first time. This is great. It's weird because he's like doing cartwheels and flips and stuff like that, and it feels wrong. But you know what? So many of the good things in this world do feel wrong.
So the thing about Star Wars back then is they also used to keep stuff fairly under wraps. Like they kept it kind of like buttoned down. They would, but it wasn't quite to the level that Disney is. Like Disney will put stuff in trailers that straight up isn't in the movie. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yep.
But back then you could I don't know, you could read rumors, they turn out to be true, or they'd put stuff in the trailers that was like way more obvious. I don't remember if when I saw this in theaters it was a surprise that Yoda was kicking ass or not.
Dude,
but,
we lost it. We lost
yeah,
it.
I think we were excited. Everyone was like cheering and stuff, but it wasn't like if we had never expected he had a lightsaber. If there'd been like one leaked press photo of like, oh, there's a lightsaber that the toy comes with. But I think 2 weeks before the movie was out, they had all these like, I mean, they spoiled Zam Wessel being a shapeshifter by the action figure. They were like, good, crazy reveal. They even put out a Jango Fett where the head came off, and they were like, Jango Fett's head has a removable feature, and you're like, ah, man.
You're like, wait, what?
Crap.
Does it get killed in the head? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on with that? So yeah, Attack of the Clones is 15. Where were you 15 years ago? Were you watching it in theaters like we were?
Were you born yet?
Were you born yet? Maybe
No,
you
I mean,
weren't.
it's weird to think like to look back at Attack of the Clones and be like, man, that's a goofy old movie, but I had a fun time watching it when I was like a teenager. That's probably what it was like for people. I mean, for people who were my age when I was the age that Attack of the Clones came out.
Right.
Like, I mean, I was Star Wars the first time.
Yep.
Star Wars was 18 years old when I first saw it. So it was like a weird old movie, and I was like, I gotta
Cyborg
do
Man
that.
on YouTube says Sand Gets Everywhere is the best scene of Attack of the Clones. I do love that one because it's just like it turned into a meme. It did that thing where it's like it's terrible, it's really really bad, and then it dips back up into being like, oh, I kind of love it, you know. And then they got him at Star Wars Celebration to sign some sand.
Talk about some sand.
To talk about sand, which is amazing.
No, I always like to just joke about like when he goes and kills all those Tusken Raiders.
I love that.
And there's a part in the Darth Vader comic, if you read it, it's just really, really cool, where he just like, he basically has like a layover in Tatooine. He's like, I gotta take care of something. And he just goes and kills a bunch of Tusken Raiders. And you're like, is that like Darth Vader's like weird kink? So just like, I don't want to do like a recut of Revenge of the Sith where every like 10 minutes they're like, Anakin, we need you to do, and he's like, sorry, master, I was killing Tusken Raiders. Like, get off of Tatooine, come and join the Clone Wars. And it's like, too much.
So yeah, that's pretty much our show for today. Thank you so much for watching. We have a few minutes left. I want to point out a note that our producer just put in the document at 12:52 p.m. today. He said, "Ass bleep."
Oh yeah. We got bad news. We're not allowed to say ass anymore, so you got to bleep it whenever we say ass. And they can bleep those too.
Oh, these two.
Yeah.
God damn it. Okay.
Good news is our boss, who's the one who made so we couldn't say ass, he's actually, that's Fran. He's
Don't tell them that. They're going to let him know we said the word again.
No. Tell Fran that we're plugging Fireteam Chat live at 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Tell him we
go
said
watch
it's the
Fran
greatest
talk
show
about
on
Destiny
Earth.
2. Everyone loves Fireteam
best
Chat
show.
and Destiny. So, the Fireteam Chat boys are all down in LA checking out Destiny. They're going to, I'm guessing, a bunch get a hands on time with it and check it out and everything. So that is on all of your various IGN devices, 8 p.m. Pacific time live. So if you're stoked on Destiny, check it out.
Those guys know about as much about Destiny as we know about Star Wars. So, and I don't know if it works in reverse, but yeah, go check those guys out. Do you want to talk about that beer real quick?
Oh yeah,
Let's do that. It's right up here.
Where's the beer?
We got some
All
cool
right.
beer.
So before we go,
Toby
the fine
Soul says,
folks-
"Can you say hi?" Hi, Toby. What's up, man?
Hello, Toby.
You just joined and you get a hi. Man, people have been waiting all hour for that.
Yeah, so this, we would maybe drink this, but it literally just showed up this morning, and it's all shaken up still, and would probably explode and get foamy everywhere.
And warm.
This is, what's the name of this? This is Amagong Brewery, and HBO Direct Marketing sent us these. They've been making Game of Thrones beer for a second here. This is Bend the Knee Golden Ale brewed with honey. It is 9%, so maybe treat it more like a wine. It's probably pretty heavy. But they come in these cool like collector bottles that have the different seals of the different houses. You've got Stark and Lannister and, what is it, Targaryen. So if you're a big Game of Thrones fan, you want to have something cool to put in your flagon, have some ale. Bend the knee. I really love that they do this. I don't know if they're going to put out like once that show's all over, put out like a full like box set of all the different beers and whatnots. But it's really neat that we're at a point where there's like, hey, here's some adult collectible alcoholic beverages for your wizard show.
Yeah, I kind of love that.
Yeah, I hope we get. I think there's actually Witcher wine. Yeah, John Ryan was. He tweeted out a photo. Our dude John Ryan, who does all like the Witcher 3 walkthroughs and guides and stuff. I think he broke into some Butcher of Blaviken wine that CD Projekt Red had given him, which is probably like someone's probably mad about that because it could have been very expensive on eBay.
Yep.
But man, I love that stuff. I want some Star Wars booze.
Yeah, did they make Star Wars booze?
I think they make like Skywalker Ranch wine.
Oh, you know what?
That's
Did I tell you about the Kobe beef they sell at Skywalker Ranch?
What?
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yeah, basically. So they raise cattle there, and they're like some of the best in the world, and you can kill them and eat their steaks.
Did they call them Obi-Wan Kenobi?
No.
That's messed up. That's screwed up. That's terrible.
know.
I don't like it one bit.
know.
Yeah.
Skywalker steaks. Go get them. They're expensive. But yeah, hopefully if there's Star Wars booze, we will find it. We're just weird enough to do that. But thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We have a just absolute blast making this show. Max, great work today.
Thanks, man. Likewise.
And
we got to play with our toys. We got to talk about the Nerf guns and the alcohol. So really, everything went pretty well.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to check out more of the stuff we do, check out Podcast Beyond. Go to youtube.com/IGNBeyond or just poke around on your app of choice. This week it was you, me, and Marty, and we talked about Lego Marvel Superheroes, The Witcher show, some of the stuff we talked about on this show, as well as The Surge.
And Farpoint, the new VR game.
Yeah,
with
that funny, weird yogurt-covered pretzel gun thing that Sony's selling. And then, of course, you do Link Together.
Yep.
Which is
we have just an amazing episode going up at 3 p.m. today. It's one of our funniest ones. Zach and I took on the Fireblight Ganon situation with 7 hearts and 2 busted-ass swords and 5 bombs or whatever. It was a wreck. But you're going to love it.
Nice.
So check that out.
And, of course, if you use a portable pocket telephone, I implore you, go download the IGN app. On your, OS of choice. They just totally overhauled it, and it is great now. So, what's that?
Oh, and our Squid live stream tomorrow.
Yes, the Squid live stream. That's tomorrow at, 4 to 4:30? 4 to 4:30 Pacific time on all of IGN's various platforms. We're going to be playing.
We're going to move the tentacles around.
We're doing.
And we need your help.
Funny tentacle stuff.
So
yes.
be there, be on Twitch, help us move those tentacles around. We're going to make that squid do some gross-ass stuff. Oops, I said it again.
Stop it. All right. Bye, guys.